Hey folks, welcome to episode 2 of my TopStep trading combine experience. Trying to pass step 2 of the combine. This is Thursday, 9/16/2021. Coming into the day, the prior day on Wednesday, basically bounce, and then broke up. And into that high area is where the market sort of levitates, comes back in a little bit, back down pre-market, and stabilizes. So that's the context coming in. We're in like a 4-day balance at this point. And as of this day, pre-market, we're trading down 4 points. The pre-market volume was 177,632 over the average of 191 and change. So slightly below average. The overnight range was 22.5, and the VIX was elevated just a little bit. Now this VIX is important because when I see a VIX that high, it means to me if I get a ATR open trade setting up, then I'm going to take it, and that ends up being the first trade of the day for me. So coming back over here to the market opens. And you'll see where right here is where the ATR break is. We open below that, and you'll see it a little more clearly. So now, just after the open here, you'll see it break up. Now, I model these trades, and the statistical edge on these trades is high, so I take them. And this was my first trade. Unfortunately, I didn't capture the entire trade, but you can see what happens from the portions I did capture. All right, I took an ATR break trade. Entry is 44.70. Target should be 2.5 to 3 points. I'm going to go for 3 points on this one. Time was 9:32. So I got the 3 points on that trade, and it looks like it extended just a little bit, but it is, in my opinion, it's a scalp, because this is what the market can do. It can just come right back down to the open and move around quite a bit while the market sorts itself out. But for those initiation trades in the morning, the ATR break is very effective for 2.5, 3 points and more. But today, right, it's the day before triple witching, expiration of several futures contracts and options. I didn't want it to hold this trade for longer than 3 points. And you can see from the way the market moved that the price did retrace, and that was sort of the beginning of it. I didn't know it yet, but it was going to retrace a lot farther. And like I said, with these ATR open trades, you have to be careful with them because of this type of price action in the context of a market during or very close to options expiration, monthly options expiration. Because this went up, came back down, is now testing the open, and you just don't really know yet what price wants to do in this market. You have to give it a little more time before you go for range extension is the point. Time is 10:37. Just wanted to point out a really good 10:05 trade after a B trade set up. So the context is market opens, broke up with an ATR open break that I took. Then I was on conference calls. I couldn't watch the market really. We had another ATR break as we crossed back through the open. Took out the opening range low on the 1 minute kind of opening range. Some bounces, and then as we come into the end of A period, which is here, into the beginning of B period, which starts at 10 o'clock, when A closes below the market open, there's about an 85% chance that at some point during the day, the market is going to take out A's low down here. So what I call a B trade in this context is when B opens, you look for a break. And when you do get a break within the first 5 minutes, that is a setup for what I call the 10:05 trade, which is buying the open of the 10:05, without going into all the details, essentially buying the open of the 10:05 bar, putting a stop down here somewhere below the low of the day at that point in time, and then taking it for a quick reversion back up to A's low, which is here, also is a target based on my moving average on the 1 minute. And that trade would have worked, I mean, as good as it gets, because of the very 10:05s right here, very low maximum adverse excursion here. And this trade has a high probability setup, so I tend to take it. And now, as B reverted again, came back down, set a new low on the day around yesterday's value area low, we get another signal to buy, which is pretty consistent when you're in the context this market's in with options expiration tomorrow. You're going to get a lot of these reversionary triggers that go back and forth throughout the day. But now that the initial balance is set up, the first hour of trading, which is the initial balance, I will be looking for a break of B's low, but I don't know if I'll be able to take the trade if my next meeting starts in 30 minutes, if that starts and I can't get it done. Okay, we are about to take an ATR break with anticipation of breaking the IB low. I'm only using one contract because this market is very volatile right now, and the VIX has increased. I'm actually a little nervous about the trade, quite honestly, but I'm not going to front run that ATR. I'm going to wait for this thing to break, because my target is Wednesday's low, yesterday's low, which is much lower. So I'll have plenty of room to run, and I'm glad I'm not trying to front run this thing, because it's so volatile. So we'll see what happens here. Just want to see if we get a break. And it looks like it's being defended at the moment, but all right, I think we're about to get one. Now, because this ATR is with trend being down, I am going to take it if it breaks this. Now, often what I'll do is it'll break, I'll wait for it to come back up to my moving average, enter there. So 1046. Go ahead and enter one. So we're short one there at 44.4250. Time is 1047. So now the initial break of the IB is the low of the day, and this can get front run. I may actually enter one more contract higher to try to take some off before the before it hits that overnight low. And the stop now is pretty significant at around C's high. We're back up to this point of control. So, this is a tough trade right here. I probably should wait till 11 o'clock. In fact, if I get stopped out on this first one, I may re-enter at 11 o'clock. I may have been a little too early on this trade. It's always tough to tell. Yeah, they're bouncing this around. So, where's my stop need to be? I mean, really, the stop should be above B's high. But that is a lot of risk. I should have probably considered that before I entered the trade. B's high is 54.25. And that would be almost 500 bucks. So what I'm gonna do is instead, I think I'm gonna put the stop at about 50 for now. That's the ultimate stop. And that'll be enough to at least make me think about the trade, whether I wanna stay in it or not. And that is, you know, that's 7.5 points of risk. All right, we're getting some further confirmation here. So what I'm going to do is sell 2 more contracts, and we're going to lock in some profit to be able to withstand actually, all right, let me adjust this while I'm watching it. In order to withstand the likely moves of how the market will react as it starts hitting these levels. So we got that profit locked in. So now this stop is too tight, but well, it's way too tight. But I just wanted to lock in some profit real quick, because you see how this thing broke just by, what is that, 1 tick. It bounces up. Now I do want to re-enter with 1 contract. And let me just give it a minute, because I need to evaluate how we're going to react off this IB low. I mean, if that's all they wanted was to break this IB low, because it is pretty much a, you know, it's options expiration, so the market's going to chop. If that's all they wanted, I need to wait. It's still my expectation that, let me show you. It's my expectation, it's not a guarantee, that we will not have an inside day today, which means we've got to break this low down here at some point. But that could take a while, and there could be a lot of chop, like right now. So I'm glad I took that profit there on those contracts. I think the whole trade ended up being worth, let's see. So, I don't know, 200 bucks, a little over 200 bucks, a little over 200 bucks. So not bad for a quick scalp type trade. It's not really my intention to make that a scalp, because I think we're going down, but I want to get a little more confirmation. And a break of A's low may be actually the confirmation I need. That was a break, but I mean a better break. So we'll see what happens next. All right, I think I'm just about to get back in here. 2 contracts. I'm going to take 1 off at 2 points. I also have a meeting coming up, so I don't have a lot of time to deal with this. See how they defend the low here. All right, we're coming down. What time is it? 10:53. Okay, so I'm going to enter 2 there. My stop is pretty tight, and my targets are going to be much, you know, a bit lower. You see there's contracts setting up here to buy this thing. Take that off at even numbers. I don't like using the odd numbers for exits. All right, got the first target. I'm gonna go ahead and move the stop to like break even +1, because that's above A's high, 38. Oh, that is A's high. Look how volatile this market is. Move it to 1 tick. No, got me. All right, you know, a little more of a scalp. I guess it's gonna, you know, it's gonna do this the rest of the move down. It's gonna move down 2 points, up 2 points, down 2 points, up 2 points. You can kind of see it here, how it moves that way. And you can scalp it all the way down, but it would be better just to commit with one contract and give it more range. So I just did that. All right, so now the range actually is going to be a bit lower. Let's see, you got a couple targets, 34. So 35 is a target. Come down here to B's low is 32. You know, if they front run it and run it back up. A's low is 27.50. So I'm going to try to give this thing some room. 27.50 is A's low. I'm going to make it 28.50. And I'm going to try not to adjust the stop on this. And we'll see how it plays out. Right now it's moving pretty well. Yeah, we might bounce right there at 32, Wednesday's value low. This is a extension off of the B levels. Sometimes the algos focus on those, and then we've got Wednesday's low. So I don't think we'll go straight through Wednesday's low. It would be a pretty normal spot for an algo to try to front run. And my order automatically adjusts my stop once we move. I think it's 1.5 points on this setup. So you see a lot of contracts coming in to buy 30, which is right at that algo extension, right at 30. So there's a pretty good chance we bounce here, come all the way back up. All right, I'm just going to move this stop to break even. And we'll see what happens. This is not an easy trade. These trades are volatile. They take time. You have to be willing to let the trade run and play out. And I am willing to do that. I mean, I'm plenty positive on the day. But the tough part is how much risk, how much room do you want to give this to meet your target? You've got to give it some room. So 36, 25. If it's going to fail, you don't expect these little swings to fail. So I'm not expecting these to fail immediately. It's just so choppy. And you know it's going to bounce. So it's 10:56, top of the hour, could be 1 point. And you also don't want to be, too adamant about your targets and your timing. And if you have targets that make sense, like this whole zone right here from 32 down to 30, that might be a good spot just to lock it in, because the algos apparently think that's a good spot. And there's all sorts of games that will be played. Plus, I don't see a lot of contracts forming down here yet. A lot of order flows. See, and look at that. We bounce, come all the way back up. I'm going to take out this, maybe even run it all the way back up before it comes back down, which is apparently what they're going to do. That's what it's looking like. 33, 34 was an algo level here. Just, there are a lot of things to think about, and I don't really want to risk too much on this trade, because I know if it comes all the way back up, I can't always get back in it. And so, I'm break even on this trade. I scalped some money on it already. And if it goes now, that's great. If it doesn't go now, I lost some profit, but I didn't lose any of my principal. All right, and it's going to stop me. All right, now, boom, and I'm out. All right, so we'll revisit this later. I've got meetings I've got to attend to on conference calls. Oh boy, if it flips right there, it'll be painful, but that happens. We'll catch up. I'll try to catch up on this trade a little bit later. So as it turns out, the market decided not to take out the lows of the day. The market went all the way back up to the high of the day, just a complete reversion. So that's it for me today. I was happy with my trades, followed my process. If you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I will try to publish more. Thank you very much.